What up? Back with another video. Hope everyone's having a good day, good night, good evening, good morning, wherever you're from. Hope you guys have a good day, or having a good day. So today I want to talk about, sorry if I'm shouting, still getting used to this whole thing. Starting off on the Street 750. So, give you guys a brief little introduction of how I got onto Street 750 and why I did my last video on some things to avoid as a beginner rider. So for me, like I said before, I started off on the Street 750. Awesome bike. Do I regret it? No, and yes at the same time. Listen, the Street 750 is an awesome bike. Like, if you have one, don't get me wrong, those bikes are fun, awesome, fun to screw around on, have a lot of torque. But I think with purchasing a Street 750, you really got to consider the type of riding you want to be doing. So if you're in the city, like for example, where I'm in Toronto, if you're in the GTA in Toronto and you're constantly stop and go traffic, you need something to get in and out, places quick and easy, you're a bit of a shorter rider as well, it's a big thing. But something where it's an urban cruiser, and that's something where I misunderstood and wish I did a little bit more research on before I purchased it. But if you're doing that sort of riding, Street 750 is an awesome bike. It's liquid cooled, doesn't get as hot as these ones. The Milwaukee 8 is obviously not as bad as the V-twins, but if you're that urban rider, bike's an awesome bike. You can have so much fun, you can whip them around. But then the second you start getting into long distance cruising, so I noticed for me, as soon as I started hitting over 80-90 kilometers, if I was cruising at that speed, it would shoot, I forgot the term, drone I think it's called, where it would just drone out and you'll get that humming noise, but it's not a nice hum, like it's an annoying hum where it sounds like you should be shifting to the next gear, but there's no more gear left. So when I noticed that is when I started doing these rides with my dad and my brother. Brother made the same mistake. We both got brand new Street 750s, but because with Harley had a thing within a year, if you swapped your bike, you get most of your money back, blah blah blah. So he swapped his out and got an Iron 883, which I wish I did from the beginning, because I was being a little bit tight for money and not waiting for the right moment, kind of rushing my purchase, what I talked about in the last video. And if I just waited a bit longer, another year, or if I was more knowledgeable on bikes, Harleys, and the customization and stuff, I would have got something used. But so anyways, back to what I was saying. I noticed when I started cruising with them, my brother was on the Sportster, my dad has a Touring Ultra Classic, that not that I wasn't able to do it, it was just very uncomfortable doing. And obviously that's huge, because these things are meant to be comfortable. You're meant to go for a long distance, not meant to do that, but you know what I mean. Like, you're supposed to enjoy the ride with what you plan on doing with the bike, because at the end of the day, some people, not for everybody, but for me, this is a leisure activity. This is something I like doing on my spare time, whenever I have a break from work, stuff like that. So I slowly started becoming uncomfortable, and I would have my girlfriend, and we looked very small for the bike. Like, I'm 6'1", and a little bit, I wouldn't say the heavier side, but definitely could be better shape. Probably around 200 pounds and 210 roughly, and it just didn't fit me right. The bike looked too small on me, and it's something that very quickly I became kind of annoyed with. Oh, that was a terrible shift. Oh my god, again. Jeez. So yeah, it's something I became very kind of sick of and kind of started getting annoyed with, and I wasn't enjoying riding a lot. The last year that I had, because I was doing things that the bike wasn't designed to do. So if you plan on doing those long distance cruises, anything like that type of style of riding, long group ride, stuff like that, it's not the bike for you, because you'll soon get very, very tired of it. Yeah, so that's something that I quickly started getting annoyed with. And last year, so this is now 2019, even my girlfriend noticed, when it was nice days, I really didn't want to go riding with her because I felt very, very uncomfortable on the bike. I was starting to get frustrated, like I was saying, and it wasn't enjoyable. The thing that I was supposed to enjoy, I started not hating, but it was something where I just kind of want to hop on the bike by myself, rip it for a bit, have a good time, and go back home, but nothing longer than 45 minutes to an hour. And then there's my dad and my brother. They're going for long 3-hour cruises, and I could do it, but with my girlfriend I couldn't because she was very uncomfortable. I wasn't the most comfortable. But if you plan on doing any type of long distance riding, I would definitely avoid that bike. Next thing, customization for these bikes. They're very, very basic customization. So if you want that kind of traditional deep throaty Harley sound, or throw big bars on it, I'm not saying that you can't, but personally I do not think it is worth it. For me, it's a bike where if you're strictly using it just to get in and out of places, not do a lot of customization, but have that Harley, have that amazing power, it's great. But for anything customization, it's very basic. Like I had a Dasani exhaust on it, I forgot the exact model, and I found a K&N filter for it, and that was it. And there wasn't much more you could do. To me, it wasn't really worth going and upgrading the bars, spending any serious money. And that's when then I started seeing my brother, at least with the Sportster, doing these amazing customization, big bars. He threw the Vance & Hines short shot exhaust, which sounds unreal. And the bike just looked like a badass bike, and it was something that's the route that I wanted, but I couldn't get that with the style of bike that I had. So, and from when I first got it, I actually had a couple issues. This is when everyone goes typical Harley. But right away, it threw, in a month of riding, I got an engine light. I'm like, great, a month into riding and I'm already having issues. And it's very frustrating when you have a brand new bike that you're already having these issues, because that's obviously the last thing that you want when purchasing any new vehicle. So yeah, so through a sensor, by the time I got the sensor, when I first got my bike in September, I didn't start riding until about end of October-ish. I really started riding, and it's something where I then later got again. So definitely not one of the best bikes that Harley Davidson has ever built, clearly. But again, they're fun bikes, but you gotta know they're designated for a specific purpose, and it can't do much more than that. But don't get me wrong, they're awesome bikes. Like when I was racing my brother with it, which you should not be doing, like at the bottom end, I was taking him for a majority of the race until near the top end where he got in front. So they definitely do have like a lot of power, a lot of low end torque. Like I limited it out at 180 before. Like it moves, but not steady. You can't cruise on those bikes, I personally, unless you're more of the shorter rider. You don't do crazy long rides. But other than that, that's kind of my view on the Street 750, and that's where my mistake was. So should you get a brand new Street 750? Personally, no, I don't think so. I don't even think you can now because they discontinued them. But if you could find a used one and it fits the category of riding that you want, yeah, it's a good bike. But I do think there's other alternatives, especially with other brands, that you could definitely go with. That's a little bit of my my 2 cents on the Street 750. But again, if you're the one, if you have one, trust me, like, it's a fun bike. Believe me when I said I had so much fun, I learned so much. But is it a bike I plan on I would keep forever? Definitely not, in my personal opinion. So yeah, please don't get hurt if any of you ride a Street 750. But yeah, those are kind of my things of starting on a Street 750. So if any of you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. Please like, comment, subscribe. Same old, same old. Hope you guys have a good night, good day, good morning, good evening, whatever the hell it is. Just have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.